Everyone, those who are and those who may be watching the replay or on YouTube, welcome. Today is about closing the gap between what you know and what you consistently do. We're dealing with the mastermind, the technique that we use to move from where we are to where we wish to go. All right, so we are going to be on a journey, your journey, and we hope that you will gain from this class and be able to transform your desires into achievable results. So let's go. The Eagle Dynamics is a part of the Proctor Gallagher Institute and part of the personal development industry. And presently, the Proctor Gallagher Institute is headed by Sandy Gallagher. As you know, it was Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, but he has passed a couple of years ago. So she is in charge. And her vision, as stated there, is to build the Proctor Gallagher brand so it lasts for eternity, to get out our programs in every household around the world, and to keep Bob Proctor teachings and mind with him alive forever. Let's give voice only to encouragement and illumination. Let's shine brightly together. And we play our part at Eagle Dynamics as a certified coach from Eagle Dynamics. You are the hero, right? You identify whatever problems you may have, and Eagle Dynamics is simply the guide. You develop your plan based on what it is, the vision that you have. You go into action and you produce the particular result, right? So we guide people from confusion and delay to clarity and action. In most cases, people already have the knowledge. Now you need an identity-based implementation. And as we go along, we'll clarify when we talk about identity-based. What is the cause of success? Many people have asked this question. What is the cause of success? Many persons, included to say that success is 80% psychology, your thoughts and emotion, and only 20% mechanics or strategy. Unfortunately, most persons have this the opposite way. They think by having strategy, not realizing, and that's what we mean when we talk about identity. You have to develop an identity which is you become what it is that you want mentally, spiritually first, and then it manifests itself. Now there's a 3-step process. You define what it is that you want. You have to have a clear vision, and then you develop the identity that matches that. Right? You then have to align, not attach yourself to your goal. You release the concept of, oh, we're going to get into that. Then you act faith, and gratitude. Right? So step one, we help you get crystal clear on what you want and who you are becoming. That is what we help you from the word go with. Step two, you release the how. And we will explain that a little more because most persons are hung up on the how, especially young people, and they don't begin anything because they think they need to know all the ducks must be in line. And all that is false. We sure that is not your job. Act now. People are going to ask, so are you going to act now if you don't know whatever? We will tell you why you need to act now, not when things are in place. So people say when the children finish school, when I get the money. And therefore, we are going to show you, you ignore the how. The how is not your responsibility. We show you how to get a chief how officer. You're in the religion, then people would say that the how is for infinite intelligence, is for God, if you want to call it that way. Because when you do that, you limit possibility. You create resistance and you block the source from where the answers are going to come. So trusting that the answers will come replaces visual control, seeing, having everything. Anyone who drive a car would understand. You can only see as far as, especially in the nights, you can only see as far as the light. You have to trust that the road is still there beyond the light. Without that trust, you'll never move. You'll be paralyzed. And that is what happened to many people. So the whole belongs to a higher intelligence, infinite intelligence. Some of us refer to that as the chief O officer. Right? The chief O officer. So everything is created from thought. Begins with your belief, then the emotions, then the action that create the result. But thought, everything begins, is created first, and then second in material thing. So how you use your thoughts, your time, and your money is important. So stop spending. Everything in life must be investment. Everyone has 24 hours. That's it. Right? We have the hourglass here. This represents the past. This represents your future. And in fact, you don't know. However, here represent the present moment. And what happened? It is constantly changing. So when we tell people you need to do what you can today, not worry about what wasn't done yesterday, nor preoccupied your mind with what is to be done tomorrow. So how do you spend your time? You want to do an audit, right? You want to do an audit of how you spend your time. Let's look at a typical day and note what it is that you are doing. And that is by Never God. And he goes on to say that thought is a coin of heaven and money is its earthly symbol. At every moment must be invested, and your inner talking, what you're saying to yourself. I'm talking about what you try and project to the world. Your inner talking determines whether you're spending or you're investing. So again, he said, thought is the coin of heaven, and money is its earthly symbol. Goddard also points out that heaven is your imagination. It's within you. So when you talk about the inner talking, what it is that is going on inside, usually it's either I can or I can't. And more often than not is I cannot is the dominating thought. Something happening, we see the problem, but we don't look for the solution. And we'll explain that that is what is called a law of polarity, the law of opposites. But it depends on your perception, right? So question we ask often is, who are you? Because you have to know who you are before you can change who you are. And as you point out, you are made up your beliefs, your emotion, your action, and your result. So originally, people talk about, for example, your soul, your spirit is within you. But that's a photograph, for example, of what actually it is. You are surrounded by waves, frequency, energy. And in a sense, you, the physical you, are within the spiritual realm, if you want to put it that way. And this is no established scientific evidence about the frequency and the energy of each human being. And as we develop our knowledge, our understanding from time whenever, that we exist on three levels of understanding. The non-physical, or the spiritual, if you want to call it that way. The intellectual, and this is what separates us from all other animals. We have certain inner intellectual faculties. And the physical aspect. These are all three wrapped up in one to make us who we are. So everything is energy, including us. As I said, there's a thinking stuff from which made. What we look at quickly, and we're going to get into the thing, but we just want to introduce the mind. We always do this because it's very important that people understand, how the mind operates. Because this is where people don't have, and we have here a what we call a stick person. Proctor Gallagher signature thing we call is a stick person. And the big circle represents your mind. And your mind is separated into two parts. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, where the heart is. As a man thinketh in his heart, so it is. And the small circle is your body. Your body is an instrument of your mind. And these things here, these ones on the outside, is see, hear, smell, taste, touch. That's how you communicate with the outside world. And that is what happens when you are pretty young and they tend to be telling you, look at this, don't do that. But within you, and this is what we talked about earlier about the higher faculties, are 6 faculties. They don't teach you this in school. They talk to you about knowledge, but they don't talk to you about how to implement knowledge. And what are these faculties, higher faculties, that should be taught in every school, at every level? You have the imagination. You have your intuition. You have memory. You have will. You have reasoning, and you have perception. I won't get into the detail because we have other masterclass which we get into much more detail, but just to mention it, that the model of the mind is the large circle on the body. So your conscious mind set goals, but your subconscious mind run the program. Think of a computer, the physical computer. It's just there. It's not until you get the software, then you can get to do certain things. That's your programming. And therefore you evolve habits. So unless you reprogram some of the negative and false belief and habit, you're going to be basically stuck. Everyone have freedom of choice. And this is what we mean when we say that we talk about the stick person. You can look at things in a negative way. That's the perception now. Remember, we talk about as one of the higher faculties. Your perception is your point of view. And if you are ignorant about something, and here we're not talking about whether you're stupid, just that you don't know, not knowing. So there's an energy flowing through us when we talk about that constantly. It just is. Everything is. We give it positive or negative. What happens if you focus on the negative? Worry and doubt slips in. Fear, right? Fear. All of these in the subconscious mind is fear. What happened to the body? anxiety. When people become anxiety, what they do, they suppress their feelings. Then, of course, this will lead to depression and dis-ease. The body is in dis-ease. And that's the formula for disintegration. But you have a freedom of choice, as we said. What if you look at the positive side? The positive polarity is knowledge. That's the opposite to ignorance. So you want to develop understanding. And the only way to understand it is study. The forms of study may differ because people tend to look at study in the schooling context and get carried off. We're not talking about that kind. It included that. And of course, that's in the conscious mind. Once you get to the subconscious mind, you develop faith. You trust in the whole. And what happens in the body? Well-being. And well-being is expressed. Acceleration takes place and the body is at ease. And this is how creation happens. That's why we say things begin with your thought. So as we said, this is called a law of polarity. We just do this for emphasis. You have the choice based on your perception to worry and doubt, or can seek knowledge through study to gain understanding. That's your choice. What it is that has been the main cornerstone of human existence. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's what many people ascribe to in the Christian faith. But long before that, people were talking about, for example, in Chinese and North African, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. So it's not about kindness. See? It's about the conscious creation of experiences through thought aligned behavior. How you think, how you feel, and how you act. If they are in aligned, in unity. So the law of reciprocity. So we try to guide people into a higher level of awareness and leadership. So what happens when you apply this principle? You build empathy with others. It guides you to make ethical decisions. And you elevate personal and relationship effectiveness. This is not about greed. And this is what we're looking at today. How do we collaborate? But it's important to recognize that your beliefs, your identity All of this was shaped in your first 7 years of life. No one taught you to speak. No one taught you to walk, despite many people thinking that their parents. No, they didn't. Children are genius. We'll get into it, but they are functioning strictly on their subconscious mind. Their conscious level have not sufficiently developed. That's why I say babies hold on to everything they put it in their mouth. Because this is what they know. Anything they want, they just cry. That's their form of communication. And when they look around them, they see everybody is walking, therefore they want to walk too. And it doesn't matter. Child is going to fall, he's going to get up. He does not give up. And that drive, that whole purposeful approach is lost the moment we begin to associate and go to school. So let's get into the specific topic for today, the mastermind advantage. So what we did before is just an introduction to get you to understand the concepts of how we approach things. We begin with thought. And so the mastermind advantage, right, is where we empower not just entrepreneur, but all individuals. In fact, our philosophy at Eagle is that the old methodology need to be replaced, and you now need to have entrepreneurial thinking, not job seeking or career. Makes no difference. The thinking, the entrepreneurial thinking, creative thinking need to replace the present model of personal growth and development, which for many years has been go to school and get a good job. But that's not how you create wealth. Never has been. So it's not just learning about this idea, but experience a shift in how entrepreneurial think, how people have thought in the past, how they decide to collaborate and to move into action. So we try to empower our clients, entrepreneurs and educators, gain access to the limitless potential. Let me repeat that. The limitless potential that each human has. Has nothing to do with your station in life. Nothing. It depends on the choices you make. And if you grasp the opportunities, if you get the right mentorship, the right guidance, develop the proper values. So what it is that we are going to look at today, we're going to look at 12 things. Inspiration must become implementation. You know, many people are familiar with this. They go to church on Sunday and they are inspired. And before they reach home, they fall back into the whole pattern that they do. And that cycle simply continues. But we are going beyond inspiration So the last masterclass we talk about knowing doing gap. Now we're moving on and necessity for collaboration. Mastermind. That's just entrepreneur, but most people feel isolated. That is there on their own. The journey is just to them. And therefore we talk about that. You have limiting beliefs. Start out with beliefs. So we want to define the stakes that without the growth, without the abusing the opportunities, you're going to fall back on old patterns and repeat the same thing and therefore get the same result. Pastor once remark every time he had a funeral that the cemetery is one of the richest places because it is filled with beautiful and rich ideas which people never get to implement. People die with their dreams. So our formula is when you success is when you begin to think, decide, and act and collaborate in an harmonious alliance with others. So we ask ourselves the question, what becomes possible when you stop building alone and enter into a room designed to elevate your thinking and to connect you with other like-minded people? And that is what we call the mastermind principle. At this point, I just want to just bring in a little historical element, right? And this historical element has to do with what happened after slavery with the African people and black people in the New World. What happened? I know, particularly for Jamaica, the slaves had options. They had choices. They could stay on the plantation, integrate with what is happening, or alternatively, as many did, they went into the mountains, collaborated together, and built their own new life. They were separated. I can say I've lived to see my great grandparents, father's side, both sides. And both of them and their father owned their own land. Yes. They owned their own house, they had their own land. I'm talking about for me, right? That's 4 generations before me. And this is one of the things about our ancestors. We need to know how they were able to survive and why many of us have fallen out of grace with forward movement, basically. In the United States, it's the same situation. Slaves had a choice. But you don't hear about those who separated themselves In the United States here, there was a place called Black Wall Street. Town next to it was white. And when it's a Wall Street, they were extremely rich. They had their own private plane and all kind of stuff. And they bomb it. Yes, that's what they did. They bombed the prosperous black to drive fear and so forth. So again, there were choices: separate or integrate, so to speak. So I mention that because the spirit of cooperation existed amongst people from ancient time. They call it communal living. So when we are talking about this, this is not a phenomenon which is only applicable to present day. Human existence is based on collaboration, not competition. So I just pause here just to say that the principle has always existed in human existence. We just need to resurrect it. So what are some, when you do that, what are some of the benefits? Collaboration accelerate success. Greater opportunities are presented. Infinite intelligence solves the bigger problem. Remember, we say that the whole is not your responsibility. Some people say leave it to God, but be very careful here. Very careful. The Buddha religion had a very simple thing. It said, pray, but move your feet. In the Christian religion, it says what? Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, move, and you will find. Knock, and the doors of opportunity will be opened unto you. As you sow, you shall reap. No sowing, no reaping. So it is not sitting down and waiting for someone to give you something. Engagement. So we're going to introduce you to what I call the hot seat. But we'll see how that works out if people are interested or able to. So we're going to ask you, of these 12 points, which one is most current to your specific situation? Let's think about that for a moment while we move on. Here, what this represents is the story arc from struggle to transformation. I'm going from the left to the right. What we call a story arc. So we want to move from confusion and isolation into guided action. So first, there is a problem. There is confusion, different things happening, ideas you want to grow. But then you have to cross over the bridge. You have to establish some mentor, guide. You need plan and you need action. And then you have transformation. In personal development, many times people confuse result as success and don't realize the results come from your growing. You're developing your level of awareness. That is why people who are rich become millionaire. They lose everything. And they don't have no problem in recovering. None. Because they know what it is. They know what to do. They have the level of awareness. Many persons start lose everything, nothing, in debt, and they bounce right back. So you don't lack information. No. Worse nowadays with artificial intelligence. You don't lack information. What we lack is an environment where knowledge become organized action. So we begin with the struggle. We clarify what it is costing. Then we introduce a practical path forward. So another question whether mastermind works. The question is whether you're willing to step into one. So we talk about problem, the arc, and moving into infinite intelligence. And when we get a little bit more into it, you'll see what we mean when we talk about the mind and what it does. So the bridge from the last masterclass, as we said, is only the beginning. We focus on the last one and knowing doing gap. And now we turn implementation into collective momentum. And in the next masterclass, we re-examine decision making. But that just to give you an idea that we are following, even in these free events, a pattern which can help people to make the right decision and to give ideas. So in that time we dealt with knowledge informs, repetitive, transform. You need to decide, align, and act. So knowledge informs, sorry. The repetition, doing the same thing over and over, reading the same thing, and then decide, align yourself with whatever goal and you act. Today we are talking about not alone, to coordinate your knowledge, to create accountability, and the result, you're going to be in a growth room, clear commitment to go to your next chapter. So tonight, what we are moving you towards is to make the decision, align your identity, and begin to act consistently with the right people around you who can help you keep going. So what is one action you know would move your life or your business or whatever you are forward if you repeated it for 30 days? In this business, we call it standards. What it is that you would be doing with the information gained so far. So let's identify, get a little bit more deeper into this. Whatever problems, people are often isolated and feel alone. You have goal, but no consistent accountability. You have ideas, but no thinking partners. And here we have a guard against people whose their responsibility is to kill all good ideas. I usually tell people from my experience that there are people who, when you provide a solution, they will find 10 reasons why it cannot work. Those are not the people who you form mastermind with. Those are the people who you avoid. Don't tell them anything so they don't have the opportunity to kill your dreams. Unfortunately, a lot of parents mean well, but that's what they do with their children. They kill their imagination, their dreams. So you want an environment of like-minded people. So isolation has a cost. The more you delay, the more you postpone the commitment, it weakens your self-esteem, your self-trust. Your confidence wane. Opportunities which are presented, the windows close while you wait for perfect conditions. Again, as you say, you're trained to do that. That's what school and these places teach you. You must know everything before you move. You must develop a bulletproof plan. And not only that, you must have backup. I taught in school for many years. And I could never understand how they have the 12th graders talking about you must have plan A, plan B, plan C. I usually tell the student, I say, all you need is one plan. You don't need no backup. You focus on that plan, you will achieve it. But if you have backup, you know where you're going to end up with a guarantee. If you have A, B, C, you're going to end up at C or D. And I've seen it happen almost every year. Students wasting money going to different places about you want to see what the college is. to the physical building. So they visit. It's a tour, it's a time we're able to go. They visit 6 different places, and then they end up going to a seventh, which they didn't have on their thing because that's their C plan. So the old habits keep happening if the environment is not changed. And what we mean is if you're not into a mastermind which can help you move ahead, you're not getting the guidance needed. So more learning without execution become frustration. Many students, for example, in college, they don't get frustrated during college when they leave. They realize that with all the knowledge that they have, doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to work out how they want, and they wonder why. So the longer you build alone, the smaller your thinking becomes. So delaying does not mean that you're going to be neutral. So the more you delay, is the more your self-trust weakens, opportunities close, the momentum wane, and of course, results seem to be going further and further away from you. At this time, I'd like to offer a little exercise. Let's think for a moment. How is your present rate of implementation? When you make decisions between 1 and 10, how is it implemented? If we have the chat, you can make a note. I may not be able to look at it right now, but maybe later. Give me an idea. Implementation. What is at stake if nothing changes? You can collect information for your dreams, your goals remain inspirational instead of operational. You keep falling back into the old patterns. So whatever is your current thinking, you're going to remain in that current situation. So if you think you can't, you won't. And this is what many people find themselves into. It's almost a cycle of doom. You're trying harder, but not getting the result that you want. Because your perspective, your perception is based on the present results that you have. There's a old time saying, birds of a feather flock together. Show me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are. Many young people fall into this trap. I had someone, a client, who always say, oh, she want to be around young people and blah. I said, that's true. Nothing wrong with that. But are the persons going anywhere? Are they going anywhere? Do they have big dreams? Or are they just living in the present moment of their parents, if they are so fortunate? Your network must match your vision. That's what we're talking about there. Like-minded people. Because then the delay, as we have mentioned before, becomes normal. Call it procrastination, whatever. Because the people we have around you has not changed. So you need a new room. So you have to ask yourself the question, if nothing changes in the next 90 days, the cost will be, what will it cost you? Because the breakthrough you seek may require the room you have not yet entered. And that is what we are saying for you to seek the alliance with people, with like-minded people, seek mentorship, seek guidance. We offer that, and we will. So when you stop building alone, what happens? Remember, we talk about your potential. So you're not only using your knowledge, and now we also have, of course, artificial intelligence can pose questions. And as I often tell people and others, if you're not mastering artificial intelligence, then artificial intelligence is going to master you. In fact, social media and society is already doing that through what they call algorithms. And as a mathematician, I can tell you they're called equations. It's the same thing, it's just more elaborate form using psychology. Embrace artificial intelligence. Learn to use it. Your people talk about it going to take over the human. Just think about it. Humans are, vast majority of humans are presently controlled by the media. What we are talking about here is the ability to think for yourself, the ability to draw on your own inner strength and gifts. Link with people of a similar nature. And you will find the more you think about it, the more that opportunities will present themselves. But many times, people belief about people block them from linking with other people who can help them and provide them with ideas. So what would be your biggest barrier? Make a note of that. What you think is your biggest barrier why you're not doing what you should do? Are you ready for a mastermind solution? Is there one goal or one thing that you want to achieve in which your present environment, the present environment, they cannot help you. Because what you need is a better alignment, better question, and better support. So as we say, what becomes possible when you stop building alone? What decisions become easier? What problems become clearer? What opportunities are going to be reachable because you are now connected to minds, experience, and encouragement beyond just your own. Now, at this point, I just want to make a little deviation, so to speak, about culture. Culture is a group paradigm or a national paradigm. Remember, I talked earlier on about black people, especially after slavery. There was a section who was collaborate together to build a new life. Most people have not heard about Madam C. Walker, a slave child who by the turn of the 20th century was a millionaire, a woman. She was in the, I think is the hairstyling cosmetic business or something like that. And she had black women working network. They were growing, she was growing, she was providing the products. We need to read and understand about those people. Collaboration, not competition. Collaboration, not individualism. So the mastermind, and in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill defined mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in harmony for a definite purpose. So it says when two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. So where two or three are gathered in harmony, that's the important thing. They are focused on a particular area. We do it, it happens. There are different types of within an organization. So as it says, coordination plus harmony plus a definite purpose create organized power. Whole time saying two heads are better than one. Yes. So when they come together, they create a third. If it's into theology, they call it God. If not, they call it infinite intelligence. The science call it energy, which can either be created nor destroyed. There's no beginning, no end. Now, this is just our way of trying to set out the stages that you're dealing with. You identify whatever problem there is. You may face a challenge. You're agitated, it's holding you back and causing confusion. What are the stakes there? If nothing changes, then you're going to be getting into disaster. But you don't have to do it alone. The eagle is there as a guide, not to tell you what to do, but to help you to develop the mindset necessary to do what you are capable of doing. Because you have the potential. So you would develop a plan. And we usually say this is inspired plan. You must be in a state of relaxation. Ideas will come to you. Ask. The problem that many people who are in theology in the church, big mistake when they pray. Their prayers are general, lacking in any specificity. I often listen and they say they're praying for blessings. And I will say you already have the blessings, the higher faculties. That's your blessings. So you use them. And then, of course, action. You take action. You begin where you are, not where you want to be. Wherever you are is where you begin. Doing little things in a little way every day. And of course, then eventually the transformation and you'll achieve results that are going to help you to get the things that you want. So plans are not going to move by themselves. You have to do certain things. You, as we say. But the collaboration accelerates it. The group turns scattered knowledge into organized action. So before, unclear next step, private frustration, recycling the same ideas, not new. Mastermind, cleared insight, different perspective, better question, faster plan. Most people who achieve success achieve it with others, not by themselves. And after, confident action, create visible progress and momentum. So that's what the mastermind group does. It brings together, like, as they say sometimes, when you have, even in normal gadgets, you have more than one batteries. A series of battery create more power. One battery, but a series of battery, more power. So if you're in a business, for example, you may seem to be stuck. Not because the problem is impossible, but because the problem is being viewed from only one angle. When you have more than one person looking at the same thing, you get more angles, better question, and faster movement. So think about one problem that you have that you've been trying to solve from one perspective. That is your perspective. What if you had other persons? So relationship is going to expand opportunities. So the right room, the right mastermind room connects you, your goal to people, resources, and other possibilities. Opportunity travels through relationship. I often go to the beach on a Sunday. And it's amazing. You may just say good morning to someone and let's say hello. A conversation start and an answer to a problem that you have been grappling with. Now, this person may never know you before. You may not even in a conversation, you know. They will say, that's a brilliant idea. No, this is just the beach. But the opportunity, if you're open to, you're not fearful. Some people find it fearful to even say hello to a stranger. Before, I'm from Jamaica, you could not pass someone without not saying hello. No, I'm standing at the door and students are coming, and if out of 30 students, 3 of them acknowledge my presence, I'm doing very good. They don't say that they're not being trained to do that. Right? So the opportunities, what they are going to do, create referrals. You'll get partners in things that you didn't even realize. Collaboration, strategic collaboration, long term. New doors can open through trusted introductions. These are just some of the benefits. Access to infinite intelligence, as we say. One mind sees apart many. Harmonized mind reveal a field of possibilities. And we talk about Napoleon Hill, third mind, which is connected to practical problem solving, clear of a better decision, stronger implementation, and renewed courage. So when you combine the faith with imagination, experience, skill, and focus attention, new insights are going to emerge. Bigger problem require bigger thinking, and bigger thinking is best with a mastermind, more than one people pooling together. So the mastermind room is designed for breakthrough. The purpose is state the goal. The hot seat, you name the problem. Because you may have a group of maybe 3 or 5 persons, and at any given time when it meets, one person is in the hot seat. One problem is not dealing with what can't be done, only ideas that can. No evaluation, no criticism, no beating down anybody else's idea. Put your idea on the table. That's it. It's very difficult. The group provide the insight. Commitments, and they choose the next action. Accountability, and the cycle. So whatever plan is agreed to by the individual concerned, please understand, the mastermind is not deciding for the individual. The ideas and the suggestions, the contacts, the opportunities are presented. So that's what we mean when we say the hot seat. That person is in the hot seat. So the process is simple, not complicated. So if you can see a clear path from a goal, a purpose, whatever it is, right to that. We do this in our own training. Group. We have group facilitation. So the goal is not simply to feel supported, not a feel-good exercise. The goal is to leave with a definite next action. So first, to clarify the purpose, you name the challenge, people contribute, person chooses a next action, then the accountability brings it back. This is what we do in all our programs and things. We help people through the particular. So the hot seat, this is what we mean. Run a little bit behind, because normally if there's anyone willing to step into the hot seat now, we could do very quickly something. Would spend a couple minutes. If anyone is brave enough or vulnerable enough, so to speak. Okay, we move on, and your next step is action. And we are going to suggest as guide. Reserve your seat for the September the 23rd masterclass and come ready to make the decision to improve your life. We'll be dealing with decision making then. You can purchase a program, move from inspiration to structured growth, repetition, and implementation. You can create a discovery call. It's no charge to clarify where you are, where you want to go, and what support will help you close the gap. The room can open the door. Your decision takes you through it. What do we do at Eagle that can help in this particular project? Bob Proctor always says, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice. We say soar higher and live unlimited. What is our 5 peer growth ecosystem. We have what is called a Quantum Leap series presently. Oh, it's every fourth Wednesday, sorry, that is, and this is free. That's the first stage. If you subscribe and then you sign up and you come to these events, so far we have held them every month. There's something, a new topic which can help, um, you know, people move to a different level. Next stage, we have what is called entry programs. Magic in your mind. Science for getting rich. Part to agreement. This program starts from about $300 to $500. Magic in your mind is a program that I would highly recommend to people in education and students, because it goes into 6 faculties. It tells you what they are and how to use them effectively. The third tier is our workshop. Next one is in November. Where identity and money paradigm workshop that we have. This is over sometimes 6 weeks, once a week. We have that particular program there. We're looking into maybe having it on a more regular basis, but for the time being. Then our elite transformative program is thinking into result. And also new lead the field. And if you take a combined package, both programs together, each program is for 6 months, but presently I offer the program twice, because that has been our experience so far. That one time, you get certain thing, but if you can do it twice, and we have no problem in offering that special. So although people you pay for the 6 months, you can do the program twice. And we also offer, if you take one of these elite program, we offer you one of the workshops as a bonus. And of course, the 5th level is we have some premium program, Principle of Prosperity, working with the laws. They are a little bit more expensive, up in there, maybe $1,000, $2,000, right? And one-to-one coaching. So we have a framework that we use. Values, which identity and the guardrail, your purpose, connect your values to meaning. The vision, that is a vivid picture of your future. Your goals, which is a measurable aims, and the standards, which is the daily non-negotiables. This is the framework in which all our programs and what we do take. We help you find what is your values, your purpose, and develop the vision. And we lead you through a whole series of specific things, both to give information, which, so you don't need more nice. You just need a value first sentence. This time we just share, if people are interested in the links. If you want, you can follow me on LinkedIn. If people want, you can take a shot at that. If you have Instagram, or you can on Facebook, or on YouTube. For example, the replay of this would be on YouTube. So it's up to you. You can make a discovery call and we can talk about how we can work together if this is something that you are interested in. And if there's any, we have a few minutes within the regular time. If there's any questions that people have, I will stop recording.